welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
Alright, let's get started with the kickoff show. Apollo Crews versus MVP for the United States Championship.
Finally, Apollo Crews gets to get his hands on MVP. As you guys know, MVP has been pretty much playing the mind games since the beginning with Apollo Crews.
Yes, he has. But not only that, MVP has to the advantage Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. During this match, though, they did not come out, which gave pretty much an even match for Apollo Crews. For him to be able to defend the championship successfully is completely amazing. I like what they're doing with him right now after everything Apollo has gone through, and now being able to successfully defend and beat somebody like MVP is a huge win for Apollo Crews.
He's been on a huge roll ever since he faced Andrade. Ever since that match he had with Andrade, he's just been pretty much unstoppable, and from there he just picked up his momentum, and I really don't see anybody stopping him right now. MVP did a great job trying to get in his head, but again, he is too dependent on the Hurt Business for him to win.
Yes, and he wasn't able to get the job done without the Hurt Business. But in this occasion, Apollo Crews, using power to his advantage, using everything he has to his advantage, he knew this is as even as it was going to get. He knew Bobby and Shelton Benjamin weren't there to defend and help out MVP, and he took full advantage of all of that.
And as soon as MVP tried to take control of the match, Apollo Crews will use his speed and his power to try to capitalize on that, and sure enough, that strategy ended up working.
Yes. All right. Let's move on to the very first match of SummerSlam. You'll never see it coming. And trust me, we never saw it coming. But we'll get into that at the very end of the night. Let's move on to the match that opened up the biggest show of the summer. Asuka versus Bayley for the Smackdown Women's Championship. This was a match that I think everybody was looking forward to. At this point, Bayley's unstoppable. Can Asuka put a stop to Bayley?
I think so. I think Asuka has the number of Bayley. It was just a matter of time for Asuka to capitalize.
Yes, and I feel like Asuka knew she was at the disadvantage from the get-go. She knew that Sasha was going to be there. She knew that Bayley and Sasha were going to use absolutely everything they had in their arsenal, everything they could to potentially retain the championship. Now, here's where the advantage was for Bayley. Yes, she had Sasha, but she has faced Asuka a numerous amount of times, and she knows exactly who she's going up against. And Bayley uses Sasha to her advantage at any given opportunity, and she knows that Sasha's going to go above and beyond for her to be able to win and for her to be able to retain the championship.
And Asuka did a great job because the majority of the match, she did not get distracted by Sasha. But sure enough, when she did get distracted, and it kind of really wasn't a distraction because Asuka goes towards the rope and she does that hip toss that she does, and she hits Sasha, and that's when Bayley capitalizes, which again, smart strategy by the champion, knowing when to capitalize on the mistake that Asuka made.
But also keep in mind, this is what I'm saying. Sasha Banks is willing to take a bullet for Bayley, but is Bayley willing to do the exact same thing for Sasha? Sasha sacrificed herself in order for Bayley to be able to retain the championship. But is that something that Bayley is going to be willing to do when it comes to Sasha Banks in her match? Now, Bayley is able to successfully retain because of that, right? And now Sasha sees this as an advantage. You know what? If I could injure Asuka, if I could hurt Asuka, that gives me an advantage going into this match. But unfortunately, given the fact that Asuka is who she is, I don't know. Asuka's a tough competitor. I feel like Asuka's still going to be 100% going into her match with Sasha.
Yeah, and then Bayley also, smart strategy by her too. Why? Because she avoided the Asuka lock at all costs. And she waited for Asuka to make a mistake, and sure enough, that's what she did. So, and then Bayley is willing to do whatever it takes to get that win, even if she has to use dirty tactics. And of course, we've seen her use it, and they've been successful. What she's learned how to survive, and that's very, very crucial when you're a champion.
100%. And Asuka again, she's also one of those that's willing to do whatever it takes to win, but she's not willing to cheat for it. She knew that Sasha being there was at a disadvantage, and she went in prepared. She was like, you know what? I have faced them over the last couple of weeks. I know what they're capable of doing. This time, I'm going to outsmart them. And unfortunately, she wasn't able to do that going into this match.
And Asuka did not use the green mist, which I thought she was going to use at some point in the match. And sure enough, she did not use it.
Yes. All right, let's move on to Andrade and Garza with, obviously, Zelina Vega versus the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Right from the get-go, Garza and Andrade, you could tell that they wanted this. They wanted to be the Raw Tag Team Champions, and they did a great job isolating Montez Ford from the get-go.
They did, and they knew what the objective was, and they've been feuding with the Street Profits since WrestleMania, I believe. They've gone this far, and now I feel like, okay, we're going to go into this match. This is the tactics that we have to take. We obviously have to keep Montez Ford inside of the ring at all times. We have to stay away from Dawkins for as long as we can. We have to isolate whichever competitor we can, and that's exactly what they did. And I think Zelina Vega played a huge role going into this match and mentoring her clients to make sure they were at the right mentality to be able to withstand opponents like Montez Ford and Angela Dawkins.
And like we've been saying, once Andrade and Garza are on the same page, they're unstoppable. And they proved it throughout moments in the match. They were on the same page, and they were like, you know what, let's get it done. We're going to be champions. And, you know, unfortunately, they ended up being short because of distraction, if that's what you want to call it.
It wasn't necessarily a distraction, but it kind of was in a way. The Street Profits knew from the beginning that Zelina Vega being at ringside was a huge disadvantage for them. They knew that. Why? Because they know that when she has something up her sleeve, she's going to use it. And even if she doesn't, she thinks on the fly and she thinks of stuff that's going to potentially benefit her and her clients. And in this occasion, they knew, okay, if she tries to get involved, how do we stop that? And in this case, Zelina gets at the very top of the ring, right? Like right where the ropes are, and she gets knocked down. So what does that happen? Andrade obviously went to go check on the muñeca. Garza was distracted, and the Street Profits took complete advantage of that, and they were like, you know what, if we don't capitalize on this opportunity right now, we're not going to capitalize the rest of the night.
And also, great job by Angelo Dawkins. Once he saw that Montez Ford was going to go for the pin against Garza, he automatically goes into the ring and tries to clear the ring and prevent Andrade from coming in. So, smart strategy. You could say that they stole one out of Andrade and Zelina and Garza's playbook, but they did steal the win, and they ended up being victorious.
Yes, so I feel like they did get smart because at some point Andrade tried to enter the ring. He tried to stop it. He saw what was going on, and he was like, okay, I'm going to leave the muñeca for a second, and I'm going to go on and try to save them from this match. And Dawkins was like, nope. You're not going to enter the ring, and preventing him from entering the ring is what caused them to retain the tag team titles. I can definitely see this not ending anytime soon. If I do see one team taking the championships from them, it definitely is Garza and Andrade. It's just they haven't gotten that moment. They haven't gotten their opportunity yet. And I think when they do, they're going to be unstoppable.
And you got to give credit to the Street Profits. They did a great job. They walked in with the strategy, and the strategy was, okay, at some point in the match, Andrade and Garza, their egos are going to clash, or they're going to make a mistake, and that's when they're going to capitalize. And sure enough, that's what they did. They were able to capitalize, and they got a huge win.
Or maybe the Street Profits went in knowing, you know what, maybe we can cause a disagreement between this group, because they know they are vulnerable when it comes to that aspect. They know they are not always on the same page, and what do people do when they know that? They try to capitalize on that, and that's what they did. But in this occasion, everything worked out to their favor because Zelina Vega fell off the apron, and this is when Andrade went to go check up, and that completely changed the entire complexion of the match. Now, I don't think it's Zelina's fault because, you know, they just pushed her off. However, I do feel like if that wouldn't have happened, we would have new tag team champions right now.
I definitely agree with you on that. If that situation wouldn't have taken place, I have a great feeling that Andrade and Garza would have been and walked out of SummerSlam your new Raw Tag Team Champions.
100% agree with you on that one. All right, let's move on to the most personal match in this entire card. Sonya Deville versus Mandy Rose. no disqualification, loser leaves WWE.
Not only that, but Mandy finally got to get her hands on Sonya Deville after what she did in cutting her hair.
Yes. And aside from that, Sonya Deville reinvented her entire character. She became somebody we had never seen before. Armando and I had always seen the potential in Sonya Deville. We knew Sonya Deville was a star. We said it since the very beginning. We said that an entire year ago. We said it on Break It Down, Sonya Deville. We said she was a star. And this was the match that was going to make it or break it for Sonya Deville. And this was where she was going to prove who that new Sonya Deville was.
I agree. I really like this Sonya Deville. She's more aggressive. She's more focused. But you also got to give credit to Mandy. Mandy really surprised all of us. Why? Because she was more aggressive. She was focused from the get-go. She knew what she had to do. And that was to go after Sonya Deville.
And this was a completely new Mandy Rose. I noticed it right off the bat, right from the beginning. I was like, this is a new, aggressive Mandy Rose. And obviously everything that Sonya put her through over the last couple of months, I completely understand. And they have known each other since the very beginning of each other's career. So I'm not entirely surprised that they brought out the best that they did from each other.
Yeah, and I don't think whatsoever Sonya Deville underestimated Mandy Rose. She knew that what she was capable of. I just feel that it was too personal, that she let her emotions get to her.
And aside from that, I think she was confident that she was going to win. I think she thought she was better than Mandy Rose in a lot of ways. She said it. She was like, you're talentless. She has said that many, many times on SmackDown. And Sonya Deville just walked in way too confident. Whereas Mandy knew that Sonya was going to let her ego get the best of her. And Mandy capitalized on that.
And not only that, but Sonya Deville's like, you know what? I'm going to get an advantage in this match. Why? Because Mandy Rose is not fully focused. Why? Because she keeps on thinking about Otis, and Otis is a huge distraction to her. But no, vice versa. She ended up surprising Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose was focused from the get-go. And I mean, she even went out there and was aggressive to using the table.
Sonya couldn't believe it when Mandy beat her. But it completely makes sense. I was rooting for Sonya Deville only because of the entire character change of everything Sonya has done to get to this point with her career. And obviously, this is a write-off. I don't really think she's leaving the WWE. This has to be where she gets written off, comes back completely different person, completely new character. I would have gone a different way. Armando and I discussed this off camera. I would have taken this a completely different way, but that's pointless right now. And Mandy, I just think this is Mandy's biggest push. She's going to get skyrocketed from here, and she's going to go to the moon.
I think this is probably one of the biggest matches she's had in her career, aside from having that tag team championship match a couple years ago. But this is pretty much that stepping stool for Mandy Rose to bring it to the next level. And she proved to everybody that she's got what it takes.
Yep, this is her time to shine. So we'll see what happens with Sonya. We'll see what happens with Mandy Rose. But let's move on to another very personal match. Seth Rollins, with obviously Buddy Murphy, versus Dominic Mysterio with Rey Mysterio at ringside.
I think from the get-go, everybody's eyes were going to be on Dominic Mysterio. Why? Because we all wanted to see his first match, what he had to bring to the table. And overall, he can hang. And for you to hang with someone like Seth Rollins, it says a lot about you. Yeah, you know, you guys might not like it here and there, but he's eventually going to get better. Keep in mind, this is his first match in the WWE, and what a way the debut then in SummerSlam.
I told everybody 2 weeks ago, I said it on the podcast, I was like, it doesn't matter whether the match is good or bad. It's going to come down to whether he can hang with the superstar like Seth Rollins. And he proved that he really could hang with somebody like Seth Rollins. And his first match, it was good. I have to give it to the kid. It was fantastic. I think he did great for his very first match. Obviously, as Armando said, there's room for improvement. He made a couple rookie mistakes here and there, but I mean, it was his first match. You can't go hard on the kid. He gave everything he could up until that point, and he completely stole the show on my book, because for it to be his first match, to hang with somebody like Seth Rollins, to give everything that he did, to take the punishment that he did, I think you really got to give credit to Dominic, and it's only going to go up from here.
Yeah, you just got to be patient with Dominic. Like I said, it's just the ring time, the experience. It's eventually going to get there. Give him a couple months, and then from there we'll start seeing the improvement. And again, Seth Rollins taking this match seriously. I don't think he underestimated Dominic whatsoever, but he was just pretty much toying with them at times because he's doing the experience. He lowered Dominic into the match at the beginning because he started going around the ring, and Dominic, what does he do? He makes that rookie mistake, and instead of him waiting for him in the ring, he chases Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins catches him, and that's when he starts capitalizing over the match. Little stuff like that he's got to work on, but again, that would come over time.
And obviously Seth's experience. Seth definitely did what he was supposed to do to put over Dominic Mysterio. I think Ray even did a fantastic job putting over Dominic Mysterio, and I think it's only up from here. He had a great match. This was probably one of my favorite matches. There's room for improvement there. He's going to get better. I think one of the things he needs to work on for sure. Now, obviously, I'm no expert, but he seemed a little stiff. He's obviously going to get a lot looser as he gets inside of the ring. It takes time. Give him a few months, and in a few months, he's going to be a fully developed character.
And I think a lot of that had to do with him being nervous. I guarantee you he was nervous. Everybody's nervous in their first match. Even when we did our first podcast, we were nervous. So let him loosen up a little bit more. And once he loosens up and he gets the feel for the ring, right now there's no crowd, but I think the crowd is going to play a huge factor. Once he feels the crowd, all that energy, all the adrenaline is going to kick in, and I think we're going to see a better side of him. But other than that, great job, Dominic. You're going to do great.
Yeah, that boy is going to do fantastic. All right, let's move on to Sasha Banks versus Asuka. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, the moment I found out this match was going to be the second one, because the first one was Bayley versus Asuka, and then this one was going to be Sasha versus Asuka, I knew Sasha was losing, simply because there was no way Asuka was going to leave SummerSlam without a championship.
Yeah, and then not only that, but Sasha did walk into this match with an advantage. One, because Bayley and Sasha both attacked Asuka right after the first match, and not only that, Asuka wasn't fresh. She had another match, and that was against Sasha Banks.
Yes, exactly. But Asuka knew Bayley was going to be the biggest disadvantage going into this match. She knew that Bayley was going to be able to do whatever it was going to take for Sasha to retain. But it looks like that wasn't the case. Now, it depends on how you want to look at it. You can look at it one of two ways. One, Bayley didn't take the hit for Sasha, right? Or she was trying not to get hit so that she could be 100% to help Sasha win the championship. Now, it depends on how you look at it. You could see it, okay, she wasn't willing to do what Sasha was willing to do for her, but you could also see it as in maybe she didn't want to take the hit because she was like, if I take the hit, then this is going to be the opportunity for Sasha to lose.
And I think Asuka knew about that. She's like, okay, for sure, Bayley's going to get involved. I don't have to get distracted. I already fell for that one once. So I think that also had to do too, that Asuka was already prepared. Why? Because once she did that hip toss that she does, she was already waiting for Sasha right from the get-go. So not only that, but she was prepared for it. Sasha, she did a great job. She hanged with Asuka. If anybody can hang with Asuka, it's going to be Sasha Banks.
Yes, there's only a few people that can hang with Asuka, and one of them definitely was Sasha Banks. I think Asuka walked in and was like, you know what? I know who these competitors are. I've analyzed them. I've studied them. I know what they're capable of. She went in with that mentality, and she was like, you know what? I'm not scared. I'm walking out women's champion. I think Asuka's biggest disadvantage as well wasn't just Bayley. I think it was the fact that she thought she was going to win both championships. And when she lost to Bayley, she was like, I have to definitely beat Sasha. And I kind of knew it since the very beginning. I think it's sad, though, because I think Sasha deserves an even longer reign. But let's be real. Who's going to beat Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship? It's going to be Sasha. At the end of the day, Sasha's still going to be the one that beats her.
I agree with you 100% on that. But I also liked Sasha's attitude in the ring. She was dominating. And there was a point where I thought she had the match won, where she pretty much powerbombs Asuka from the top of the ring. I was like, oh my god, she pretty much beat her already. But again, Sasha did a great job, and also her submission game was on point. She pretty much went toe to toe with Asuka on that as well.
I feel like Sasha's biggest mistake was trying to pin Asuka. I think that was the biggest mistake. I think if she would have tried to submit Asuka a lot more, she was gonna win. And I think that's what Asuka realized as well. She was like, you know what, if I try to pin Sasha, I'm not going to win. This match is going to go on forever. But if I make her tap out, there's no way she's going to get out of a submission. And if Bayley does try to get involved, it will be noticeable. And that was a brilliant strategy by Asuka.
Yeah, I think both of them went in with that. I have to win via submission. Make a statement on that.
All right, let's move on to Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. Personally, I was on Randy Orton's side because I feel like he's had a fantastic year since the beginning of the year up until now. I think he's had an incredible year. I think he deserved the 14-time championship. But at the same time, I think Drew McIntyre still has quite a bit to do on Raw before he hands over that WWE Championship.
Yeah, and two of my favorites from the get-go. I've said it for a while now. Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton both have a lot of similarities in the ring. They're just, if anybody could stop Drew McIntyre, it was going to be Randy, and vice versa. If anybody could stop Randy, it was going to be McIntyre.
Yes. And at this point, this was a hard one because Randy went in super cocky. He was like, you know what, I'm walking out champion. But McIntyre was like, no, I'm walking out champion. And I think McIntyre did his homework on Randy Orton. Who doesn't know who Randy Orton is and what he's capable of doing? Everybody knows that. And he knew, you know what, I'm at a disadvantage. He has experience. He knows what he's doing. And he can hit me with the RKO out of nowhere. But I think what Randy underestimated was that Claymore kick. I don't think he realized how quickly Drew McIntyre can execute it. And if he did, he was like, you know what, I can hit him with an RKO as soon as he's trying to Claymore me, and it's over. And I think that was Randy's biggest mistake.
Yeah, because like you said, as quickly as Randy Orton can execute the RKO, same thing with Drew McIntyre. He could execute that Claymore quick just like that. So I think that was both of their disadvantages that they were both knew what was expecting. But you're right, Drew McIntyre did do his homework. He knew that once Randy Orton missed, he was able to capitalize with that backslide, and which he was able to get the win. So he pretty much stole it. But again, if anybody could take down Randy Orton, it was going to be McIntyre.
I don't think he stole it. I just think he found the perfect opportunity, took complete advantage of it, and was like, you know what, this is my moment. And if I don't take this moment, I'm not going to get another opportunity at Randy Orton. And that's exactly what he did.
And Randy Orton was surprised of the win. He didn't believe. He's like, oh my God, he actually did beat me. So we'll see what happens on Monday Night Raw, because I don't believe this is the end of this, knowing Randy Orton.
I think one of the biggest disadvantages with Randy is once he doesn't hit that first RKO, he kind of starts to slack a little. He kind of it's like his confidence just comes down. And I think McIntyre realized that, and he was like, I have to capitalize on this. And that's what he did. And he was able to retain the WWE Championship. All right, let's move on to the main event. The Fiend versus Braun Strowman in a Falls Count Anywhere match. I was excited about this one. I liked the way it played out. The storytelling going into this match was fantastic. I think there was a lot to say from both Britt and Braun.
And Braun Strowman, right from the beginning, dominating the Fiend. He wanted to get his hands on the Fiend, and sure enough, that's what he does. And he puts him through, I believe, a table. He puts him through the barricade, and just the Fiend keeps coming at him. And
just as much opportunity as the Fiend had was the exact same amount of opportunities that Braun had. At some point, I thought we were going to see Alexa, but boy, was I surprised. The "you'll never see it coming" phrase was relating to Roman Reigns, who comes out, attacks Braun Strowman, and then proceeds to attack the Fiend, and then grabs the championship, basically claiming, I'm coming for the Universal Championship. Very, very interesting. I didn't see that one coming. WWE, you were right.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see Roman Reigns coming, and especially attacking the Fiend and Braun Strowman. So we'll see what happens with Roman Reigns. He pretty much already made a statement that he wants to go after the title, and it doesn't matter who stands in his way. Whether you're the Fiend or whether you're the Monster Among Men, you're not going to stop Roman Reigns. That's a statement.
We haven't seen him in 4 months. It looks like he came back better than ever. It's too soon to tell if he's heel, if he's face. Personally, I think a heel turn is what Roman needs at this point. If they go that route, then that's great. If they don't, then it is what it is. We're going to have to wait and see.
I agree with you. If he comes back as a heel, I think it will do wonders for him. Just because it's something new, something fresh. A lot of the times when you take a time off and you come back reinvented.
100% agree with you on that one. All right, that's all we have for you on this episode of Wrestling with Siblings. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Become a part of the Siblings today. For those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, I wonder what does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings. Thank you guys so much, and see you guys next time.